The spear, the helm, and the shield. A story of how narcissists classify you. Now, this is not just for narcissists. Okay, this is for a wide variety of people, and it usually hangs on whether you could get some benefit from somebody or not. This is the initial three stages that you use to classify your benefit, your effort, and to move on to action. So we're going to discuss these three stages, which the majority of the time, narcissists, Machiavellians, all these types of people that work only if there is some benefit to them, the initial three stages that they walk through. And so we're going to start, and I have my notes here as well. The initial impression, our first impression. Now, what usually happens with the first impression is between the first to 2 minutes of the conversation, they quickly scan for effort. So as they're talking to you, as they making their first impression, you're making your first impression. Do you look confident? Do you not look confident? Are you a bit shy or not shy? And these are small classifications they use to be like, you must probably be able to manipulate this person with minimum amount of effort, with a lot of effort. Or if I just put in some effort, it seems possible, right? So that's the first thing that they do if they start talking to you. The second thing is benefit to them. What benefit could you hold? Do you hold benefit in the form of social connections? Do you hold benefit in the form of your being itself? In other words, can they use you in some way, shape, or form to benefit them? And lastly, they'll end or continue the conversation. If you're way too hard to manipulate and you don't hold a lot of benefit, they're just going to end the conversation. Oh, it was nice meeting you. Lovely day. Now, for narcissists specifically, these are people, narcissists or Machiavellians, these are people that already have chosen you and already know you have benefits. So let's say they're at a meeting, a conference, they'll usually talk to somebody, and those people will say, oh no, but you're this type of person, you have these connections. So before they come and talk to you, they already have scanned the environment, and the environment pointed you out that holds some benefit to them. For the average person, they just talk to you and they do simple calculations. What type of person are you? Oh, they're a bit soft, or no, they're a bit sensitive. So I just need to keep that in mind. And most people just stop there. It's like, oh, I need to keep this in mind about this person. What they don't know is that at the back of the head, they're already doing those calculations. They're already running it through. What happens if I were to lie to this person? What happens if I were to do this or that? So in the first 2 minutes, our brains are amazing. They already have this first shaped out idea in the first 2 minutes of the conversation, the first impression. That's why I always say first impressions are extremely important, because the first impressions categorize you in so many ways already. Now, stage 2 is the actual categorization that happens when you meet a narcissist or when you meet anybody. This is the next 20 minutes of conversation where anybody categorizes everybody. And that's who we are. We humans survived on pattern recognition. So firstly, they put you into one of three stages. And the stages are: you're easy to manipulate. It takes a little bit of effort to manipulate you. It takes some effort to manipulate you, so you're in a medium category. And then it will take a lot of effort to manipulate you. And that is the hard category. And I have some things here that I'm going to tell you. So the easy types are the dependent types. They're usually insecure. They have overly strong convictions. And you might think, no, but then you can't manipulate this. It's much easier to manipulate you if you have extremely strong convictions. A false mask of confidence. And lastly is the extremes of your big five personality. So your openness, your conscientiousness, your optimism, aggression, neuroticism, the big five. You have them in the extremes, everything in extremes. You're very easy to manipulate. So that is the easy types. The medium types, they're a mixture of what I just said. So maybe you're dependent, but you're not insecure. You'll usually think, yeah, but those two are, no, they're not one and the same. You're a bit insecure, but not super insecure. Meaning that you know that you're dependent on other people to live. But if they don't want to be around you, like, oh, that's not my problem, they can move on. Those are the secure dependent types. And that gives, it's going to take some effort to manipulate this person. Not a lot, but some. And so these are characteristics that classify you into the medium category as well. Lastly, it's the hard, and there's two different ones. There's hard and very hard. Now, the hard category, and I'm going to tell you as it is, it's the independent types, secure types, distrusting, slightly paranoid. Now, distrusting doesn't mean you're distrusting to all. You're just slightly distrusting. You don't take any. It's like when you in a first conversation, you take everything with a pinch of salt. Everything that this person says, you take it with a pinch of salt. You're not just going to flat out believe them. Confidence, and then a mixture between extreme and a medium score on the big five personality traits. So you might be extremely assertive or aggressive, but you're very conscientious, and then you score medium on optimism, for instance, or medium on neuroticism. You're not really neurotic, and you're not really a very extremely happy person. You're not manic. So a well-lit mixture of these personality traits also put you in the hard category. And so now that they have you categorized, let's say this takes about 15 minutes. Now that they have you categorized, now comes the big question. Is it worth it? They weigh benefit. You're easy to manipulate. Do you hold that much benefit? If you're easy, they're most probably going to manipulate you anyway, because it doesn't take a lot of effort and you hold some benefit. So that's fine. The medium one, that's where they start to ask, does the benefit outweigh the cost of my effort? And then for the hard types, they really do analysis of that. They're like, okay, I'm going to have to put effort in here. I'm going to have to play the long game with this person. Or I'm going to have to do something along the lines that are sneaky and cunning so that I can get this person on my side. And after that, I must. So they start weighing that cost of effort. So the hard types, they're the people that don't really get manipulated, because the benefit does not exceed the amount of effort that it would take to manipulate them. But yet again, we're human, right? And as long as we're human, you will be susceptible to falling. You will be susceptible to being manipulated once or twice in your life. Okay, so how they categorize you is through white lies. And these white lies reveal your body language and your reaction to the unexpected. They'll agree with you on some stuff. They'll disagree with you. They'll say some outlandish things, or at least one outlandish thing, to see how you react to the unexpected. And then they categorize within the easy, medium, or hard. And then lastly, it's the putting it all into action. It's the manipulation plan. So there's a lot of things that they can do. It all starts out with a mask of normalcy. They won't reveal that they're this narcissistic person, or if it's normal people, it will anyway start out normal, because they don't think about manipulating you from the start. They start out normal, build a friendship, build trust, build rapport with this person, so that later I can move on to manipulate them. And so there are a few methods that they follow. The give and take method, or many people know it as the hard and cold method. This works in relationships, where you give a little, then you take it all away, and then eventually you give a lot again, and you take it all away, so that you make the person addicted to your presence, to your love, to whatever you're trying to portray. You make them addicted to that image. Then you have your break and build types. This is a strategy where you break down a person and rebuild them into whatever you want them. This mostly works in relationships, where you'll break a person down to the shell of their former self, and then eventually rebuild them into an image or person or thing to do a certain task that you want done in the relationship. Then you have the builders. These people are not just for narcissists. These are normal people, because it's hard, right? It's hard to take an already broken person and build them in their own image. You're most probably going to build a broken person in your image. It will happen at the end of the day. So the builders seek already broken people and they rebuild them. Then you have your negotiation types. Now, the negotiation types will give more in any negotiation than they get the very first time you negotiate with the negotiators. They'll seem generous, right? They're building an image of generosity. Eventually along the line, where they need what benefit you provide them, they'll ask you for that favor, and you'll be inclined to do it because they're a generous person. The gifters builds an image of altruism. They build an image of this person gives to everybody. This person is not just generous, but they're a helper. They're trying everything they can to make the world around them a better place, but they only do that to the person that holds benefit to them. Breakers. And breakers, what they tend to do is that over a time period, they break you down, break you down, break you down, break you down, until you can't leave anymore because you don't see yourself fitting in anywhere else. So how do you deal with narcissists or with anybody trying to manipulate you for that point? There's 3 steps that I found very effective for working with any narcissist or with anybody that is trying to get something out of you. In negotiations, this works very well. The first thing is patience, and you might think, yeah, that's very dumb. No, patience is actually a virtue. Allow them to play their cards one by one and carefully negotiate. So patience and a bit of paranoia goes a very long way with anybody trying to manipulate you. Just be patient. They'll eventually have a bad day, a bad hour, and they'll show you all their cards and they'll show their face for what it is. So just be patient. The second thing is move in private. Talk to people around them. And this has worked many times, and I've seen it not just once or twice. I've seen it happen a lot, especially to kids. This happens to kids as well because they have a big circle of friends and the person is very popular, and then he's so popular, the popularity gets to his head or to her head, and eventually the whole friend group just phases them out. But why do they phase them out? It's because one person in that group was brave enough to talk. One person in that group went to another member and said, yeah, but I don't really like him or her because they do this and this and this. And the other person's like, yeah, no, that's actually true, but I also don't like this and this and this. And they start to talk among each other. The group in private have discussed so long about their behavior. They have continued their patterns and they have confirmed what they've been talking about behind their back, and they leave. That breaks the narcissist and it breaks everything that they've been working for. And then lastly is escape. Any self-defense, any good self-defense instructor will tell you, don't fight, run. And it's the same for narcissists. It's the same for emotional manipulation. It's the same for emotional battle. If there's a chance, run. It's best to escape being able to fight another day. It's best to escape and have your heart guarded, then stay there and be hurt and be broken beyond the point that you once were, because then you have to change. As soon as you're broken enough, you're going to have to change to adapt to that part of you that no longer works, to that part of you that isn't as strong as it used to be. It's like breaking your leg. As soon as you break your leg, the rest of your body is going to compensate. The same happens for your heart and your emotions. As soon as you've been broken, something else has to compensate. There's always a price to pay, and the price will be paid in your blood, your sweat, and your tears. So keep that in mind. And that's all. The next time you meet a narcissist, be patient, move in private, and or if you can, escape immediately. Thank you.